Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're making these paper luminary lanterns using a set of free cut files from my website, mandyartmarket.com. You can cut these lanterns by machine or by hand, and you can make them in all sorts of sizes and colors. They're really fun to make. Let's get started and I'll show you how. Let's start off with the supplies we'll need to make this project. If you're cutting by machine, you'll need a die cutting machine like a Silhouette Cameo or a Cricut Explore, and a cutting mat to place your paper on. If you're cutting by hand, you'll need a sharp precision craft knife and a self-healing cutting mat to protect your work surface. Whichever way you cut, you'll also need the following: lantern cut files, which can be downloaded for free using the link in the description below, cardstock or cover stock in any color you like for the body of the lanterns, translucent paper to line the lanterns, this can be plain or colored, clear drying glue, a pen or pencil, craft clips, you can also use paper clips or clothespins, and a paper trimmer is helpful, but if you don't have one, regular old scissors will do the trick. Step 1. Downloading the files. To download the free cut files, click on the link in the description below. Once you're on the Lantern Files page, just click Add to Cart and then Check Out. If you've downloaded files on my site before, you can log in using your email address here or social media right here. If you're new to Mandy Art Market, type your email address here. You can choose to set up an account if you like. This will help keep all your downloads in one place in the future. Click the Place Order button and you'll be redirected to the file download page, where you can choose which version of the lantern cut files you want to download. The machine cut PNG files can be used in Silhouette Studio's free edition or Cricut Design Space. The machine cut SVG files can be used in Silhouette Studio's premium versions. They'll also work in Cricut Design Space. The hand-cut PNG files are outline-only templates which can be printed and cut by hand. Click on the version you want to download and the files will go to your Downloads folder or wherever your downloads are saved by your computer. Unzip the archived file and inside you'll see a folder with 4 individual files. I've included one lantern with no base and 3 different base options depending on the height you want to have for your finished lanterns. Now that we have our files, let's go ahead and open them in our cutting machine software. We'll start with Silhouette Studio. From the top menu, click File, Open, and then select the lantern file you want to cut. Once the file opens, we'll need to change its dimensions to create the finished lantern size we want. To do that, click on the image, then on the Resize button in the toolbar. Be sure the aspect ratio lock is on. Change the width to the width you would like for your finished lantern. You can use any size your machine is capable of cutting. The larger white lanterns I made were cut with a template width of 10 inches or about 25 centimeters. The finished lanterns are great for pillar candles with a diameter of about 3 inches or 8 centimeters. The smaller black lanterns I made were cut with a template width of 7 inches or about 18 centimeters. They're perfect for tea light candles or small votives at about 2 inches or 5 centimeters in diameter. Drag the resized lantern file into place on your paper preview. If you need to adjust the paper size or orientation, you can do that by clicking the Page Setup button on the toolbar. Now let's head over to the Send tab in Silhouette Studio. The software will show you a preview of the lines it plans to cut. My cut lines are highlighted on the left in red. Be sure to adjust the material options for the specific paper you will be cutting. When cutting thicker paper like the cover stock I used, it's helpful to turn on the line segment overcut option. This will create crisper, cleaner corners in your final cut lantern. When you've made all the necessary adjustments for the material you'll be cutting, you're ready to hit send and start the cut. Now let's head over to Cricut Design Space, and I'll show you how to set up the cut file there. With Design Space open, click on the New Project option. In the New Project, click the Upload button on the toolbar. Click Upload Image and then Browse, and open the lantern file you want to cut. You can use the machine cut PNG files here. For the image type, select Moderately Complex and then Continue. On the Select and Erase screen, we don't need to do anything, but you can preview your cut lines here if you like. Press Continue. Select Cut Image as the upload type and press Upload. Now you have the cut file for the lantern ready to use. Click on the new lantern image and click the Insert Image button. Now we need to change the image size to the width you would like for your finished lantern. You can use any size your machine is capable of cutting. The larger white lanterns I made were cut with a template width of 10 inches or 25 centimeters. The finished lanterns are a great size for pillar candles with a diameter of about 3 inches or 8 centimeters. The smaller black lanterns I made were cut with a template width of 7 inches or about 18 centimeters. They're perfect for tea light candles or small votives at about 2 inches or 5 centimeters in diameter. With the lantern image selected, navigate up to the size options in the Design Space toolbar. Make sure the aspect ratio is locked. Type in the width you'd like to use for your lantern. Hit Enter to resize your image. Now click the Make It button to prepare the file for cutting. Drag the image into place on the software's cutting mat, according to the paper size you'll be using. Click Continue and you're ready to cut. Step 2. Cutting the lantern by machine. Place a sheet of cardstock onto the machine's cutting mat. Make sure you press it down so it doesn't lift up while the machine is cutting out all the intricate little details. Load the cutting mat into the machine. Make sure you adjust your cutting blade to the depth required for the cardstock you're using. You can find the information for which blade depth to use for which cardstock inside your cutting machine software. Now it's time to start the cut. This could take a while. Mine took about 30 minutes to finish cutting the whole lantern shape. When the machine's done cutting, go ahead and unload the mat. See how nicely the machine cut all the lines? It looks perfect. Carefully pull the lantern shape off of the cutting mat. Be gentle. You don't want to rip any of the delicate pattern. You'll need to spend a few minutes weeding the little tiny bits of paper out of the small holes in the cut shape. You can use a weeding tool if you have one, or anything with a blunt point, like a knitting needle, a pair of tweezers, or my personal favorite, a tiny screwdriver. Step 2. Cutting the lantern by hand. If you don't have a cutting machine, don't worry. You can hand cut the lantern from the line-only templates included in the files we downloaded earlier. Print the template directly onto the wrong side of your cardstock. That is, the side that you want facing into the lantern, not out. You'll have to play with the print settings a little bit to print the lanterns at the size you need. These lanterns can be sized up or down to pretty much any dimensions you like. It's not a bad idea to print the outline on a sheet of regular printer paper to make sure you've got the right size, to avoid wasting more expensive cardstock. To give you an idea of size, the larger white lanterns I made were cut with a template width of 10 inches or about 25 centimeters. The finished lanterns are a great size for pillar candles, with a diameter of about 3 inches or 8 centimeters. The smaller black lanterns I made were cut with a template width of 7 inches or about 18 centimeters. They're perfect for tea light candles or small votives at about 2 inches or 5 centimeters in diameter. Once the hand cutting template is printed on your cardstock, you're ready to cut. Take a deep breath. This needs a steady hand. Place the printed cardstock on your cutting mat. Use a precision craft knife to cut along all of the gray template lines and remove the bits of paper as you go. Make sure you cut each line all the way to the corners to make a nice crisp cut. Otherwise, you may end up with rips or fuzzy bits at the corners. Cutting paper this way is an art all on its own, so if you're new to it, keep at it. It'll get easier as you go. Keep cutting until you've cut all the unneeded paper from the lantern template. When you're done cutting the whole template, you're ready to move on to something a little easier, cutting the lining paper. This one is just one big rectangle. No details. Yay! Step 3. Making the lantern lining. Lay your translucent paper over the cut lantern shape. I'm using cotton drafting vellum just because I have a big roll of it, but you can use any semi-transparent paper, like frosted scrapbook paper or even baking parchment. This is an awesome place to include some fun colors too. Line up a straight edge of your lining paper with the scallops along the top of the lantern shape. Take your time. It's important that the lining sits right along the scalloped edge. Mark the left side of the lining paper where the first scallop ends, about an inch from the left edge of the lantern shape. Then mark along the right side and the bottom of the shape. Trim the lining paper into a rectangle as marked. If you have a paper trimmer, it'll be very helpful here. If not, cut the lines carefully with scissors or use a ruler and your craft knife. The liner should fit exactly to the top, right, and bottom edges, and leave the width of one scallop on the left side exposed. Step 4. Gluing and assembling the lantern. Apply a thin layer of glue to the first scallop on the left, the one we left exposed when cutting the liner. Make sure every part of the scallop has glue on it, even the detailed cut parts. Make sure to glue all the way to the edge so the seam won't lift up once the lantern is assembled and the glue is dry. Gently roll the lantern into a cylinder. Be careful not to crease the paper or get glue anywhere other than the first and last scallop. The glued scallop should overlap one scallop on the other end of the lantern shape. You can carefully pinch and slide the scallops into place to make sure they overlap neatly. Use your clips to hold the seam firmly in place while the glue dries. Leave the glue to dry. This should take 15 or 20 minutes, but of course it depends on the type of glue you use, so check the bottle for an accurate drying time. Once the glue is dry, remove the clips. The lantern is looking good. Now let's add the lining paper. Roll the rectangle of lining paper and insert it into the lantern. Be sure to align the overlapping seam on the liner with the glued seam on the lantern paper. Both seams will be at the back of the lantern, so you won't see them when the lantern is finished and on display. Add a thin strip of glue around the top inside edge of the lantern. Be careful not to use too much glue. You don't want it to squish out and be visible on the finished lantern. Carefully slide the lining paper up to the top edge of the lantern paper and press it into the glue. Make sure the top and bottom edges are aligned. You don't want the lining paper to stick out the top or leave gaps under the top scallops. If any glue does squish out when you press down the liner, you can clean it up with a paper towel while the glue is still wet. With the top edge glued in place, add a thin strip of glue around the bottom edge of the lantern, between the lantern paper and the lining paper, and press it into place just like we did at the top. Double check that all of the edges and seams are lined up and where you want them. Add some clips to the top and bottom to hold everything in place while the glue dries. Let the glue dry. How long this will take depends on your glue. Mine took about 20 minutes. Once the glue is dry, remove the clips. Now the lantern's ready to use. You can use a real candle in your lantern, but please be careful. After all, the lantern is made of paper, and paper can catch on fire. Flameless candles are definitely a safer option here. I stacked 2 flameless votive candles together to give my lantern a nice bright glow. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll give these lanterns a try. If you like my videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And as always, you can find all of my art and more craft projects at mandyartmarket.com. See you soon!